Is it truth? The Torah? Torah said to us, everything that's written in Torah, it's true. And you probably understand very, very well that answer is negative. Answer is not. Not everything that is written in Torah, it is fact. It's historical or physical fact. I'm not talking about metaphora or allegories. That you understand without me. You know that it's written in Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out from Egypt in eagle's wings. You remember this verse in Torah? You know without me that it's not true. It didn't happen in reality, in physical reality. Nobody get his own private eagle, they sit on it, and in this way he get out, or he had his own wings and he fly from Egypt. We understand that it's not true. But about that I'm not talking about. That you know, it's simple. I'm talking about the fact that's written in Torah. All kind of things that it's written. It happened, this and that, in this place, in this situation. And we know that it's not true. It's never happened. For example, it's written in Torah that we went out from Egypt after 430 years that we were there. And we know that it's not true. It wasn't. We weren't there 430 years. How do we know? We just count the age of our those heroes of Torah, these characters of Torah. Chag, when he was born, when Joseph, he came in Egypt, he was 33 years old. When he became a king, 33. He was when he went there, it was 17. Torah told us his age, and he died in age 110, and how many children he had, and all you can count, and you get to the number 210. We were in Egypt 210 years, not 430. So why Torah tell us not right thing? And it's who wrote Torah? He knows that we know how to count. He knows that it's very quickly, very easy. You can find this mistake. So why he write there? But the answer is, and there are a lot of, I can give you a lot facts like this that we know that it's that they are not facts. That it wasn't. It didn't happen in physical reality. So why? Why it is? And Chazal explained to us that Torah doesn't say exact and accurate facts, historical.
Oh, Chazal says as well?
Chazal also, yes. Accurate facts. If you know what, if you ask me about Chazal, I'll tell you even where it's written. It's written in Gemara, Masechet Chulin. Just a moment. Okay. Gemara, Masechet Chulin, page 90. page. Masechet Chulin, page 90. It's written, Dibru Chachamim Lashon Havai, Damrinan, Dibra Torah Lashon Havai, Arim Gdolot B'tzorot B'shamayim. And Rashi explained what does mean Lashon Havai. It didn't say exact, not accurate facts. Why? It's in order to teach us that the main thing in our life, it's not a fact. It's an interpretation of the fact. The way how you perceive the fact, not fact itself. Torah never tried to teach us or to tell us what happened then in those days. Like a Torah, it doesn't, it's not list of animals that lived in those days, or plants that though that in Torah written list a lot of animals and also a lot of plants, names of the plants. And if you want to know something about a plant that they were in ancient Egypt, you can find in Torah. Maybe sometimes it's written. But this is not the purpose of Torah. It's not a goal of Torah to tell you geographical places or names of the cities or villages that were in the same time around the Mesopotamia. Though that it's written. This is not Torah's goal. In the same way, like not that is a goal, it's also not a goal to tell you a history of those places. Like there is a chronicles. Do you know what I mean, chronicles? Chronicles is like a historical that you...
Is that what you're talking about?
It's written, the chronicle of, let's say, of Heinrich IV or Richard III, or how he lived his life, and when he was born, with whom he get married, and the wars that he did, all kind of like a list of his all kind of historical events that... Biography, yes. Biography, but chronicle, biography, it's about somebody, some man, his life. And if you write not biography, but what happened in this time, in this country, it's called chronicle.
Like Divrei Hayamim. Are you referring to that?
But in Hebrew, Divrei Hayamim something else.
Okay.
This is Divrei Hayamim.
I thought you were making reference to that.
No. I'm talking about something else.
Okay.
So Torah doesn't want to tell you what happened in historical level. Though that it's written dates, some date of when, or some historical people that were in the, like characters that lived there, and all kind of it's written. But this is not the goal. What the goal of the Torah? What Torah do want? Yes, do want or does want? Yes, does want to tell us when Torah described to us all kind of events that happened in past. What's Torah goal is? The goal is to tell you the essence of event, not the event. The meaning of what happened, not what happened. And why? Because any event and any fact that exists in the world, it's meaningless without interpretation. I can give you a lot of examples about that, and I gave already. We already talk about that, not even not once. We talked few times, but you should. But you can understand by yourself. Everything that we see in our life, it's always depends on interpretation. It's the fact itself, or thing itself, or event itself, meaningless. If he'll ask you what I keep in my hand, you have an answer. What it is? עיפרון, אולי עט, נכון? You can, it is different, but you agree with me. But you understand that if I'll meet some painter that he already long time look for this kind of shade of blue, and he cannot find, for him it doesn't matter that this is a pencil or pen. He see the dark blue, romantic dark blue, and that's what for him. And if someone get electrical shock and he's shaking, and you have to pull him from there, and if you touch him, you can be also hurt by electricity. So you need something that will move his hand without that. So you will use this pen, but this is pen for you. It's plastic. It's something that save his life. For you, it doesn't make a difference if it's blue or red or doesn't make a difference. For you, it's plastic, and for someone else, it's a last sentimental present that his grandfather gave him, and he keep this memory for all days. And for someone else, it's evidence in a crime, in some crime that was committed, and this is because of this pen, you can be in jail for 50 years. You understand that it's that we don't know what it is? In philosophy, it calls the thing itself. Kant, Imach Shmo, he used to say, das en sich, thing itself. Thing itself, nobody knows what it is. It depends how you perceive what you meet. And the same thing also with events that happened in our life. If you heard someone that he want to cut the throat of someone, some Avi wanted to cut throat of Itzik. Who is it? His killer, his murderer, or maybe his surgery? Or maybe it was Akidat Yitzchak, and Avraham Avinu want to make Hashem's will. It depends how you will interpret it. So, if we summarize what we said until now, we understand that Torah is truth, it's called, and because Torah gives you right interpretation what the events that happened. It doesn't tells you all kind of facts, because facts it's not tells. We say Torah emet. Emet, it means that interpret in right way what happened. Maybe I'll give you a few examples of that. It's written in Torah that Reuven, Yaakov's oldest son, he was angry on Yaakov because when Reuven's mother Leah died, Yaakov get married, or he was more connected to Bilhah. Bilhah, she was slave maid of Leah. There were four mothers, Rachel, Leah, Rachel, Bilhah, וזלפה, and when Leah, Rachel, Leah, they were main wives. Listen, maybe you open the windows, or open air condition, something.
Where's the remote?
You can open?
We can know which you prefer, aircon or windows.
Both.
Where's the remote?
To- and lift this
Yeah,
also.
we'll do that also.
Thank you very much. Just a moment. Thank you.
Technical support, I can all turn down the temperature.
Thank you very much. Okay, so you remember, after that Rachel died, so Yaakov, he was expected from him that he'll put his like a main place where he lives. He'll put in Leah's tent, but instead of that, he put his bed in tent of Bilhah, Rachel's maid, and son of Leah, Reuven. He was insulted for his mother, so it's written in Torah that he came to tent of Bilhah, his father's wife, and he raped her. וילך ראובן וישכב לאה פילגש אביו. This is a verse. Reuven rape Bilhah. So, is it truth that it happened in reality? Chazal says in Gemara b'Masechet Shabbat, Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani says that never happened. But it's written in Torah, how he says that it's never happened. This is a verse, and it's not eagle's wings that you can interpretate in like allegorically. No, it's written a fact. He raped her. Chazal says no, it's never happened.
All of Chazal or only a portion of Chazal?
There are just two opinions that you can say that you can understand it in a way that it really happened, but but general it's not. It's majority of Chazal. So it really happened? They say no. So why it's written if it never happened? So why it's written in this way? Chazal says that if you will write what real happened, you will never understand what it is. Understand? Torah, it's very, very the highest level of Hashem's revelation in the world. It's impossible to understand. it's like try once if you're not expert. Try to understand what it's written in even in relative theory of Einstein. Open his books. It's everything is written. Everything is there. You have formulas. You have exactly. You will never understand. I'm not talking about philosophy. I'm not. There are a lot of things that if you're not expert, you won't know what it is. Of course, the same situation. It's towards Torah that is the much higher level than everything that we have. We will never understand what it is, and that's why Torah translate highest ideas in language of that we can understand. Torah tells us story that you should have some feelings or some association of something that happened in right way, and that's how we perceive Torah. For example, Rav Kook explained that what really happened in no, it's not Rav Kook. Gemara explained. Gemara by Masechet Shabbat, it's explained. What really happened? Why it's written that he raped her? He came to tent of Bilah. He took his father's bed and he took it out. That's what he did. So what? He took out. It's not nice. It was some chutzpah. It was okay. It's not nice, but it's not rape. But if Torah will write you that fact that he took bed of Yaakov outside of the tent, so you will say, so what? We will say we don't such a great crime, and he because of this action, because of this did what he did. He lost his. He was the main candidate to be priest, the highest priest, Kohen, and all kind of levels of because he was the first. All that he left and he lost. It was terrible. That it was terrible reaction of what he did. But we won't understand what it's written. I'll give you another example. Maybe not so polite or maybe not so political correct example, but even so I'll give you. Try to imagine yourself that you want to write a letter to your friend in some African tribe or Papuasical tribe in some jungle. That they live there with rings in their eyes, in their nose, with this. But he knows how to read English. But he's there in jungle. So, and you want to write him letter that someone tells you that you are not so competent in your profession, some competent. He'll take your letter, he'll see what it's written there. He doesn't understand. You'll say, but he insulted me. But how? What he did? So in order that he will understand what he told you, you have to write him that he kills you, and then you how say came back to life. How say in English back?
I can say that, back to life, revive.
Revive.
Resurrect.
Resurrective, yeah, resurrect. in order that he will understand you, you have to explain him in his language. And then he'll say, wow, it's terrible what he did to you. That's what Torah makes. Torah tells us in a level that we able to perceive. And that what it's written. But from another hand, Torah gives us in oral way also. Chazal immediately will explain to us in our level. 3,300 years after that it happened, Chazal in each generation that we live always correct, always suit this situation to our perception, to our mentality. And in reality, Rav Kook tells us today that, so what he did, Reuven, he said, he make light of prophecy to be a little, I don't know how to say in English, less light, like a
Reduce.
Dim.
light. Yeah, dim light. You can say
light.
dim light. That what he dim light of prophecy. If it will be written in Torah, dim light of prophecy, we won't understand. But today we do understand when we read Rav Kook. Rav Kook tells us what real Reuven did. He says, why Yaakov he put his bed in Bilhah's and not Leah's tent? Because he get prophecy. He knew that is the best way to do. Reuven didn't get that. He didn't get this prophecy. He wasn't agree with that. So he did something terrible. He was like opposite to his father, that he was prophet. But it's difficult, it's impossible to explain. And maybe there is something even deeper and even more abstractive ideas that Rav Kook also don't understand. And we will understand that in another 2,000 years, because Torah is eternity. So those levels of perception, it's always moved. And that's why we have oral Torah and written Torah. And only both of them together, they can give us some feeling or some idea what it is. It's like everything that we have in our life, any object that you can see in your life, there is some part of an object that you will never see. You see this part and I see this part, and that is everything. Because our reality is a 3-dimension, it means that you will never see any object in your life whole. We always see part of reality. You see this part and I see this part. And when I move and I start to see this part also, I quit see another part. It's one of the fundamental ideas of this world, that this world impossible to perceive from one position, from one point of view. And if you are sure that you see reality in 100%, you should know that you make mistake. If you are sure, this is your mistake. Reality, it's much deeper and complicated than what any man even the most genius man in the world can perceive. Even Moshe Rabbeinu. You remember this story in Gemara? It's written that Moshe Rabbeinu came to Har Sinai, and he see Kadosh Baruch Hu write Torah. He says, what it is, this? Then he says, oh, this kind of way of writing will interpret in the future Rabbi Akiva. He says, who is this Rabbi Akiva? Show me this Rabbi Akiva. Kadosh Baruch Hu show him Rabbi Akiva in his Beit Midrash, in his lesson. Moshe Rabbeinu came to the lesson of Rabbi Akiva, and he doesn't understand what Rabbi Akiva says. And he says, what it is? What's he talking about? I don't understand what Rabbi Akiva teach. And in this lesson, you understand the situation? Moshe Rabbeinu came incognito to lesson, like you sit here. Maybe some of you Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm not Rabbi Akiva, so maybe you're not Moshe Rabbeinu, but it can be theoretically. I see, I don't know know who are you, not everybody. And maybe Moshe Rabbeinu make himself like he's sleeping or in a lesson, and he listened this lesson incognito, and he doesn't understand. So he came back to Kadosh Baruch Hu, says, and he felt terrible. The Torah is different with what he knows. And somebody asked, in this lesson, Rabbi Akiva, how do you know what you say now? What is your sources? Rabbi Akiva answered to him, it's written in Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us. And then Moshe said, oh, okay, it's probably development, probably some interpretation, what I don't know, but you understand that this is one of the difference between Judaism and other religion and other philosophical system. We always know that nobody, include Moshe Rabbeinu and include Rabbi Akiva, nobody represent the truth. Everybody represent one of the aspect of Torah. So why? Because the main idea is that the truth is complicated. It's that's why Chazal tell us that if you read the Torah only in level of pshat, I mean what it's written. You see, this is a Chumash. This is the Torah. You see, I keep Torah in my hand. That is true. It's not true. Torah b'pshat, when you read without commentaries, without interpretation, without Chazal, it's a lie. Torah is lie. Torah, written Torah.
Incomplete.
No. If it's not incomplete, because if it's incomplete,
That makes it false.
False.
Yes, but a lie sounds a little bit, I don't know, doesn't sound right.
That's that's why I
False, okay.
you know what? That's why I use this word lie, though that I know word false also. That I say lie in order to wake you up. Here, that you will pay attention what I'm telling you. It's just a moment. It's very important to understand, because this is the difference, one of the difference between Judaism and other religions. Because for us, we don't worship some book. It's not Jewish expression, the people of book. You've heard this expression, right? It's not ours. It's Muslims. They call us people of book. We're not. We are people of living Torah, of Hashem, of not book. The book itself, it's a lie. Only together with oral Torah, then it became be absolutely truth. But truth, it doesn't say that fact. It doesn't say event. It's truth. It means it's always meaning. And Torah gives you right interpretation of this fact, and that's why Torah is truth. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, isn't there a concept? I don't know the exact quote, but like in Hamikra it's in the Pshuto, like that the plain explanation of the text always has to be true.
Yes. It's always have to be true, right interpretation. You're right. But it's always when you aware that this is a part of fourth level of interpretation. There is pshat, remes, drash, sod. It means the simple understanding, and then you have hint, and then you have a interpretation, then you have a secret part of Torah. And when you aware that you have deal now with part of Torah, then it's very good. Yes, it have to be always simple level. But when you say, no, I'm not talking about other levels. I'm talking about only that level, and there is no other levels. That is lie. Like if say about you yourself, if you say that you are engineer, for example, this will be absolutely lie, because your mother will say, no, this is my dear boy. His work as engineer, of course, but he's not engineer. This is one of his revelation as engineer, but he's not engineer. You understand? It's insulting of your personality when I will define you in one of your shades of your personality. It's insult your soul, your God's image, because you much above than you are son of your mother, or you are somebody. You have no limitation. You above all that. And how you call to this above all that, your essence, your meaning, we have no name, because any name will limit you immediately. So we aware that we have deal with something eternal, infinite, and it appears to us as yourself, your personality, your profession, or written part of this infinity, or oral part of this infinity. And only then Torah can be truth. And that's why in halakha, sometimes we are obligated to lie. There are some situations that we must to lie. It's not always good to say truth, because sometimes there is situation that if you say truth, it will be very hard, it hurts someone, very, very strong. How you say in Hebrew when somebody say truth? Lashon hara. When you say lie about someone, it calls Otzaat Shem Ra. Otzaat Shem Ra. It's another sin, another transgression. Otzaat Shem Ra. It's terrible. But Lashon hara, it's only truth. It's not lie. And that's why Torah teaches us you should know how to react in this world, and in order not to rule this world, not to destroy, because you want to say a truth, because you are you say truth. And if your wife once will ask you if you love me, don't answer her, listen, it's a difficult question. It's lie here. Tell her, of course, I love you, my darling. And if you don't love her, go to consultation, a couple consultation, and you should go to learn in Machon Meir, and here we'll teach you how to appreciate and to love your wife. So you have problem if you don't love her, but don't tell her that, because it's not ideal to tell the truth if you hurt someone with this truth. And you probably know it's very well that the character that they lied the most of the time in Torah, who it was? Nachon. Yaakov Avinu, that he was the symbol of truth. Remember, he lied to Yitzchak when he asked him, who are you? He said, I am Esav. It was lie. But we know that is truth. It's deep truth. It's right. It's if you will say, no, I'm not Yaakov, and it will force, Chag gave the blessing to Esav and all of that, it can be terrible. So what is the truth? Truth is not reflection of fact. Truth is only when it suits morality, goodness. It's have to be good. It's more, and if it's not suit goodness, it's automatically lie, even if you say right fact. So, after all that, our last question, is it really was the sea was open, Red Sea open? I don't know how to say it in English. Kriyat Yam Suf. How you say?
Splitting of the sea.
Splitting of the sea. Is it written really happen in reality? Splitting of the sea. What do you think? Yes, of course. It happened in reality, physical. You can make a picture if you will go there in time machine, and we'll stay there, and there we can make a film how that open it was miracle. Of course, no doubt, just no doubt. But how do I know today that it is truth? Only because one thing, because Chazal tell us that happened in reality. And how do I know that Chazal tells us a truth? Because there are a lot of other situations when they said to us, don't, it wasn't happened. It didn't. It wasn't. It didn't happen. Don't believe that. And here, they didn't say us. So I can rely on them. I can trust them. They know those kind of things. There were few of them. when they say that it didn't happen. So if it also wouldn't happen, they will say that this is allegory, and they didn't say, so it happened in reality. Yes, please.
You mentioned time travel. I think that in and of itself would make a great shiur on what the Torah would say about time travel. But that's a different subject.
Say about
Time travel.
time travel.
I
It's
think that would have to be a complete shiur in and of itself.
yes. It's
But I would like to
it's
see that. I would like.
yes,
to see that.
yes. Very. It can be great. Sure, you're right. Maybe one day because it's very deep idea of that in Judaism. We have, but because our time, now it end. Now our lesson finished, and we don't have time machine to go back to this that, and that's why today we won't talk about that. But maybe
As I said, it'd be great for a shiur
another time. You can go traveling to this time. You don't have to have another time. You just go there. But this is we know for sure that our Torah is truth. And everything is what is written there. It happened. All the question is in what kind of reality it's came to. Maybe it's parallel reality, but it happened. Okay, we'll stop here.